Over 85% of the world population come from developing countries, 6.7 billion if you want to know the actual number. And the birth rates in the developing world are much higher than the stagnant population growth of developed countries. But with weak infrastructure, limited access to quality education, and political instability, just some of the barriers they face, developing countries are forced to work hard to provide better lives for their people. So, how can the fields of construction and engineering offer a way out? In this episode of Mega Reality, we are speaking with engineers from around the world to find out. Hello people, Gerald here. We're live again here in the capital city of China in Beijing, and today we have Dr. Xinchen from Royal Academy of Cambodia and Dr. Wang Xiaolong, Director of Research and Development from China Huaneng Clean Energy Research Institute, Mr. Chen Honggang, Deputy General Manager from Huaneng Hydro Lanchang International Energy, and also we have a beautiful lady joining us today, Branka Kasch, a journalist from radio and television of the Republic of Srpska from Europe. But first, let's now turn to Cambodia. We're going to look closely at a giant hydropower station, and now let's first take a look.
Hello, my name is Kosal, and I am an operation and maintenance staff in hydropower station in Cambodia. And I come from Stagnant province, and behind me it is the largest hydropower station in Cambodia. And I would like to give you a quick introduction. Here is the dam of a hydropower station, and it is along of the 6.5 kilometer, and it is the longest of the hydropower station in Asia. Now, follow me to get closer and look the full views of the hydropower station. Look, isn't it amazing? The total installed capacities of the hydropower plant is 400 megawatts and accounting for nearly 20% of the total installed capacities in Cambodia. Hydropower lower Xinchen 2 station not only make the contribution to the energy industries in Cambodia, but also provides a cheap, clean electricity energies for Cambodian people and provides a people life.
So that hydropower plant is gigantic. It's considered one of the largest in Southeast Asia. And if I remember it correctly, that hydropower plant is capable of meeting the demand, the electricity demand for some 2 million people. So let's first turn to Dr. Wang. So why it is important right now for the world to seek green path or green alternative to traditional energy source? Dr. Wang.
As far as we know, a human being is facing the challenge on climate change and sustainable development. The energy, traditional energy methods we generate caused a serious problem like irreversible effects on greenhouse gas emission and the environmental damage. By adopting the green path, we can develop renewable energy such as wind, solar, hydropower, which can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and the environmental damage. Furthermore, the transition to green energy can help countries, specific developing countries, to create their jobs and economic growth to make a better environment. Therefore, it is very important we need to promote and support the investment on clean energy infrastructure to achieve sustainable future.
Sustainability is very important, of course, around the world, and China has been leading in a lot of that green technology development, and we're going to, of course, look more into that. But now for Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen is joining us from Southwest China, and that is kind of the border, the Southwest corridor to link China with Southeast Asia. So for Mr. Chen, from your experience, from your work, so how's the situation over in Southeast Asia?
Okay, thank you. As the world's most important emerging regional market, Southeast Asia has many developing countries. These countries have a large population, good economic, and there is still a lot of room for the power development. At the same time, the Southeast Asia is also very rich in renewable energy. For example, hydropower, solar, and wind power. The above two conditions, population and resources, they have brought very good conditions for the future development in the Southeast Asia. Chinese companies, including China Huanan, are willing to make positive contribution to promoting the development and improving local people's livelihood. Thank you.
So definitely, absolutely, we can see the huge potential from Southeast Asia. But from my observation, it's not just about the infrastructure or the large construction. It's also about how to provide a better livelihood to people surrounding that project, the resettlement, the community, or local infrastructure to build roads, and that are considered like duties beyond the construction for a lot of the companies, of course those from China as well. So let's now turn to Dr. Sun, because you are definitely familiar with the situation on the ground in Cambodia. So what does infrastructure construct, such as the hydropower stations that we just showed in the clip, and the resettlement community bring to regional stability and the security, Dr. Sun?
Thank you so much for having me here in this show. It is my honor. Because I'm a man who comes from the rural area of Cambodia, so that I understand how important it is to have the hydropower in Cambodia. In case of stagnant of Cambodia, the hydropower is very important. We have we can produce more 400 megawatt power from that hydropower. People in that area, I just could not imagine if we do not have the hydropower in that area, because if we look back to like 15 years ago in Cambodia, many parts of Cambodia, we do not have enough electricity. So I believe that without the electricity, without the power, without the hydropower, people in the community could not access to TV, could not access to a refrigerator, could not access to fans, and if no electricity, mean that no everything. So I believe that the hydropower in Xinchen of stagnant province of Cambodia is very important and contributed a lot to the development in Cambodia, as well as to the development in the region, especially in the ASEAN country. Let me repeat one more time. I could not believe, because I live in the countryside. Without the electricity, I could not come to talk, could not access to internet, and know everything. Yeah. Thanks.
Definitely. So, Dr. Sena, we're going to come back to you. We're going to talk more about that, the benefits from like constructions like this to the local people, to rural areas, or to the overall smaller places in Southeast Asia. But let's come back to Mr. Chen. So, for your company, are really responsible for a lot of the projects in Southeast Asia, near the Southwest China's border. So, are there other similar projects in like developing countries in that part of the world? And it seems like construction firms do have a bigger roles to play here, a bigger shoes to fit right here. How do business involved in overseas projects understand their responsibilities towards the local community, and are there any challenges and difficulties to integrate with the local people? Mr. Chan.
Yes, thank you so much. Sure, China Huanan has other similar projects in other developing countries. I think about the investor firm responsibility towards local communities. I think the first difficulty is the resettlement work. That is how improve the living conditions of local people, which involves a very large number of people. I think it's very difficult and challenging. In normal, we should apply the successful experience to the construction according to the local conditions. For example, we should promote the relocation of local households and build infrastructure for the poor people after the completion of a new village. such as schools, hospitals, those temples, police stations, progress, waste, and so on. It has greatly improved the living standards of local people. In addition, China Huanan will also carry out the nation work, here residents to work at the power station, and so on. They are our work to help the local people through the practice of Huanan. These measures have improved the local electricity and transportation conditions, increased the income of local people, and they are also support the local government and enterprise. Thank you.
So absolutely, and actually we're going to zoom in onto the resettlement relocation community right next to the hydropower stations that were showed you guys in Cambodia. And now let's take a closer look at how beautiful the village has become. Take a look.
ជំរាបសួរខ្ញុំឆៃខៃមេងនៅក្នុងក្រុមការងារដោះស្រាយផលប៉ះពាល់ហើយពេលនេះគឺនៅក្នុងក្រោយខ្នងខ្ញុំគឺជាភូមិថ្មីនៃគម្រោងវិទ្យាអគ្គិសនីសេសានក្រោម2នេះបាទផ្ទះនៅក្នុងភូមិនេះរួមទាំងផ្លូវថ្នល់នេះមានការរៀបស្មើដោយឡែកទាំងអស់នេះគឺការព្រួយផ្ដើមរបស់ក្រុមហ៊ុនហ៊ុននិងក្រុមទំនប់វិទ្យាអគ្គិសនីសេសានក្រោម2គឺជាទំនប់ដែលធំជាងគេហើយនឹងការដោះស្រាយផលប៉ះពាល់ដែលច្រើនជាងគេកន្លងមកដែលបានរើភូមិឋានមកភូមិឋានថ្មីបានបញ្ចប់ការងារទាំងភូមិទាំង3នេះរហូតដល់840គ្រួសារនិងចំនួន3690នាក់បាទឥឡូវនេះយើងបានមកដល់ទីតាំងភូមិថ្មីដែលការសាងសង់មណ្ឌលសុខភាពនេះហើយមណ្ឌលសុខភាពនេះក្រោយពីការសាងសង់ហើយនឹងឃើញថាអ្នកភូមិនៅជុំវិញភូមិរបស់យើងក៏បានមកទទួលសេវាកម្មនៅកន្លែងនេះដែរបាទនេះជាសាលារៀននៅភូមិថ្មីបច្ចុប្បន្នសាលារៀននេះគឺមានសិស្សកំពុងសិក្សាចំនួនរហូតដល់400ជាងនាក់ទំនប់វិទ្យាអគ្គិសនីពិតជាមានសារៈសំខាន់សម្រាប់ពួកយើងណាស់ពីមុនប្រទេសយើងមានការប្រើប្រាស់ទិញភ្លើងពីប្រទេសដទៃដូចជាតំបន់ភូមិដាច់ស្រយាលខ្លះមានការខ្វះខាតហើយមិនអាចប្រើប្រាស់ភ្លើងបានសម្រាប់វិទ្យាអគ្គិសនីនេះគឺយើងអាចផលិតភ្លើងនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាយើងដោយខ្លួនឯងខ្ញុំពិតជាសប្បាយចិត្តដែលមានការចូលរួមក្នុងការងារនេះហើយមានឱកាសនៅក្នុងការចូលរួមចំណែកនៅក្នុងការអភិវឌ្ឍប្រទេសមួយនេះ
So look at that, it's a beautiful village, extension from that hydropower station built in Cambodia, hospitals, better roads, and etc. Better livelihoods to the local people. See the children playing and going to the school they helped build as well. But it's not just in Asia. So China is also helping to build roads and infrastructure projects in other countries, including in Europe. So let's now turn to Branka, our beautiful lady today. So what's your take on China's construction overseas? And for many projects, the benefits may sometimes to be seen more than just the roads or the hydropower station Chinese company helped build. There seems like more. So what's your take?
Can any form of investment and investment in any country be evaluated in any other way than positively, whatever it is Europe or some other country? By cooperating with a European country, China shows at the same time its efforts achieve friendly relationships with those countries, but also that it wants to cooperate with them in order to develop and improve life for all citizens of those countries. And that country that does not recognize these efforts will be at a loss because it will be prevent the development of its country. And the cooperation between my country and China is not only about a project in the field of construction and energy, but also those that are of the greatest importance for citizens, such as the construction of a hospital, and the other project which is very important for all citizens, my country.
Would you mind to share a little bit more details about like in your home country, what kind definitely the Belt and Road Initiative is the China-led globalization scheme bring to the local community or the local development?
My country is committed to the One Belt, One Road initiative because it is obvious that One Belt, One Road is a unique development opportunity, especially for small countries like mine. What is even more important, that initiative is only one occasion to strengthen friendly ties, which must be emphasized because they also provide other development opportunities in other areas. Because China is a leader in many things, it can transfer its experience to us and help us to improve and its development. Only when you take one segment, which is Chinese modernization, those experiences that you can adopt from China in this area are very valuable, because this progress in the field of modernization which China has, I clearly doubt that any can reach. So if you have the opportunity to take part of it and adapt those positive experience, it should be used. And any country that resists development in this way is only working to the determinate of its citizens. Because just briefly, China is a friend of my country, and thanks to that, many projects are implemented or are planned to be implemented through the cooperation of my country and Chinese partners, from highways, which are necessary for us, to health institutions, such as the construction of hospitals.
Definitely, I mean, there are good examples, and as Bernie, you have mentioned, like the good experience from China. China is now really trying to modernize its society. Chinese path to modernity. But let's turn to Dr. Shen for a little bit more. Is at the meantime, the West sees China's rising overseas construction projects or rising capabilities to share its technology or experience with the rest of the world, a competition, and even sometimes a threat. The U.S. has launched the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework last year, which is 2022, as a counterweight to China's Belt and Road Initiative. So what's your take on this? Will we see more, the U.S. is also eager to kind of be friends with the developing world and offering more initiatives? Will this kind of gesture to really boost regional development, or sometimes it can actually make the situation even more complicated, even create chaos? Dr. Sun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Dr. Sun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Last year, because I travel many countries around the world. I've been to, I spent some time in the United States, Japan, South Korea, and many other countries. And last year, I published the article on the IPEF, the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework of the United States. In my own observation, I feel that there is no any improvement in the region that come from the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework led by the United States. And it seems like I believe that the initiative of the U.S. just bring many large doubt among ASEAN countries, because there are 10 ASEAN countries, but only 7 countries in ASEAN that can be a member of the IPEF, of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. So it means that initiative of the United States, it seems like that to break the centrality of ASEAN country. Because if it comes with the good intention, if it comes with the good purpose, there should be all members of ASEAN be invited to join, but not exclude other countries. Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar are not invited to join in this initiative. In my own idea, I think a regional comprehensive economic partnership, we call OSEP, are more better than the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, because that idea brings all partners, all ASEAN countries to join in that conference. So, and one more thing, I believe that the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework will not last for a long time, because when the U.S. change the president, they will change the policy, and that they will stop that initiative as well. So I don't think it is important for for other countries to join, like Cambodia or other countries to join in that initiative. Because I believe it will last only for a short period of time. And when they change the president, their project, their initiative will stop working, and they will change the new foreign policy as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely, Dr. Sen. I think your observation is pretty insightful, especially about the inconsistency from the Western policies. When there is a new president, there might be new directions to change the framework. While China also launched the RCEP, the RCEP, but at least for the fundamental things will not be changed. And for a lot of Chinese companies going overseas, they're not just kind of bringing the technology out. They're thinking about longer terms. They're also helping to train local people. And now I have another story to show you guys. Now let's take a look how Chinese firms are also taking the responsibilities to train skilled workers locally in other countries overseas. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Okey, an operation and maintenance staff in the hydropower station. When I graduated from the university, I saw that the hydropower station was regretting, so I came to apply for the job. When I first came here to work, I knew nothing. With the guidance from master from China, I learned many things and I like my job very much. This is Mr. Wang Xinchen. He is my master from China. Now we are in the central control room of the hydropower station. With the help of automated technology and management and through remote control, we can maintain contact among different departments to ensure safe operation of the hydropower station and transfer clean energy electricity to national grid in a stable manner. From this neatly arranged cabinet of monitoring and operation of the turbine unit, I come here and check every day. Cleaning energy is making our global more and more beautiful. Globalized industrial chain make it possible for hydropower to take the root and grow in Cambodia.
So, for Dr. Wang, I know there are great green technology, newer green technologies coming out of your lab. So, in your opinion, how important is it for China to share its green technology with the world and while train skilled industry know-hows locally, Dr. Wang?
And I think, I believe it is vital for China to share with its technologies with the world. China has made significant progress in renewable energies, just like the technology research in our lab, the China Huanan Group Research Institute. We have made key breakthroughs in the field of next generation solar PV, offshore wind, large-scale energy capacity storage, and carbon capture from power plant. Recently, we independently developed the carbon capture technologies, which can reduce the energy consumption by 30%. I remembered in last August, 27 journalists from 24 countries visited us, and they learned about the advanced technologies we developed. From their feedback, they all give good comments on our work. And, in this month, we are going to sign a contract with an Australian company to export our technologies to developed countries.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think providing training and capacity building to other countries, specific developing countries, can help them to build their own renewable energy industries, creating job opportunities, and to reduce their carbon footprint. It must be mentioned that technology transfer is essential components for developing countries to reduce the development disparities. It enables them to reach and apply advanced technologies, thereby speeding up and improving their economic growth and social development to reach the common prosperity. I think, yeah.
Absolutely. Let's also come to Mr. Chan from your extensive work experience among all those projects overseas. So how important is it to train local engineers? Hire them first and also train them Mr. Chen?
Okay, thank you. After years of work in my career, I think one of our important tasks is to hire and train local power engineers to help them to get the abilities. I mean the working ability. For example, we have made a 15-year plan for the training of local power engineers. We also arranged experienced Chinese engineers and local engineers to work together in Paris one-to-one guidance. Starting from the understanding the equipment, getting familiar with the plan, and learning the back knowledge. We will train local senior management talents with problem-solving abilities. It's very important for the future. In one of China's Hunan power plants, more than 1/5 of the power plant technicians are local. They can not only learn advanced knowledge, and also without technology knowledge, but also advanced power production method experience in the future. We hope train more engineers and to get more promote the development of the China and developing countries. Thank you.
So definitely, so how to train local engineers will not only kind of improve companies' efficiency, but also somewhat to facilitate technology transfer or whatnot, and that during that process, it can also somewhat to kind of really fix the disparity in development while the lack of technologies. But still, let's come back to Dr. Wan. The world is facing a technological divide. The developed countries, they have a lot of technology, they have a lot of use of it. As you have mentioned, Australia is already in talk with your lab to utilize some of the latest green tech. So, from your opinion, how different are the developed and developing countries in terms of adapting new technology in green energy?
For your question, in my opinion, the application of technologies, especially the renewable energies, in developed and developing countries, very differently. I can give you an example. For the CO2 capture technologies, the US and Canada has demonstrated more than 10 years, and their government provides the tax deduction on these projects. But I think those technologies need to be more energy efficient and cheaper in cost to make it affordable for developing countries. And last but not least, we just discussed it before, the technology transfer is very important. We need to help developing countries to have to help them to know what it is, how to use it, and to make them have their own industries. I think this is very important.
That's a great point. As you have mentioned, a lot of technologies need to be made more affordable and accessible to the developing worlds. And China is not shy away from sharing some of the technologies, or even the newest and latest. But sometimes, a lot of the time actually, the West would criticize China's involvement in helping or extending a helping hand to the developing world and interference or whatnot. So, to Branca, what's your take on this? The Western criticism on China's leverage. Some people would say China leverages on its Belt and Road Initiative to really interfere with other countries' development. So what's your take, Branca?
I try to understand that attitude of the West. Honestly, in my opinion, China has a different attitude about cooperation with other countries because China cooperates and invests, helps development, and never interferes in the internal condition of the country or in own politics, but tries to contribute to the development path. On the other hand, you have the West and completely opposite behavior. If they offer help in some way, they always ask for something in return. So I think the West looks at the Belt and Road Initiative with their own eyes because they are used to interfere in everything, especially in the internal politics of many countries. And they always try to impose their will, not respected other countries. So they help only under their conditions, and I think that is disrespectable, and that is the reason they do not understand someone can help any country and encourage the development of another without personal interest, only for the purpose of joint cooperation and global development, as China does. Because the West is always guided by double standards and always seeks its own interest in everything, putting politics above the economy and what is good for all citizens. But that is only my opinion about West attitude about all this initiative and all this good story about Belt and Road.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, and that's a pretty good observation, especially the West way to criticize anyone who is not really playing by their books, anything that is not in their comfort zone, they will consider
by their own rules.
Yeah, by their own rules, and they will consider it bad. But then some of those strategies actually has worked. Let's turn to Dr. Sun. So there has been some negative portrayal of Chinese images by the West media. I mean, in Cambodia, there used to be this phenomenon that the local people are not really welcoming Chinese investment or Chinese people to live in Cambodia. From your observation, how the situation has changed, and in terms of what like infrastructure grand projects somewhat played, the role played there to kind of smooth the relationship between Cambodian and Chinese people and between business and the community. So what's your take?
Thank you so much. As you know, because just want to show you one of my own example, because I am the one who speak English language. I don't speak Chinese, so that the news, the information that I get is always from the articles or the source that written and spoken in English language. So that, you know, at the first time, I and like other Cambodian people, they always feel like negatively about China because of the rumor about China. But in reality, you know, many Cambodian people, I can say before the start of the Belt and Road Initiative in Cambodia, Cambodian people are influenced by the rumors, and they, yeah, like you say, some of them they did not like Chinese. But after the projects were implemented successfully, especially the Phnom Penh Sihanoukville Expressway, when they start to open the road, many Cambodian people are extremely welcome the project. And right now, I can say all the majority of Cambodian people, including myself and many of our people, are warmly welcome Chinese people to come to live, to invest, and to visit Cambodia. Because you know, the main reason that make Cambodian people to feel more welcome Chinese people to Cambodia because of the successful of the Phnom Penh Sihanoukville Expressway. Because China, in that project, China not only promised to Cambodia, but China, I mean, under the good cooperation between the Kingdom of Cambodia and China, we have the real outcome, we have the real project in our countries. So that project changed the mindset of the people. I can say if you come to Cambodia right now, you will see many Cambodian people are more friendly and more welcome you at the airport and at the local place. So the mindset of the people changed after the outcome of the Belt and Road Initiative in Cambodia. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, speaking of some developing countries, there are definitely development issues. The local people, the local government are really trying to work hard to provide better livelihoods to its people. But sometimes it also involves with the political ideology, political instability. And the West and the U.S. is very willing to interfere with that or be a part of it. A lot of time will help to establish an ideology and try to free the people, bring freedom to all around the world. Meanwhile, China is really building grand projects, roads, infrastructure projects. Yeah, still, you know, China is a bad person by the U.S. considered. So what's your take on this? Ideology versus real action into roads, building roads, and hospitals or schools. So what's your take? Well, how do you evaluate the situation right here? What are the different methods here?
It is funny. I mean, sometimes when some Western countries, they like to promise a lot. I mean, they promise to do this and that, but while they could not provide it as the real action, as a real activity, because sometimes we have to compare. I mean, because the requirement of the people in each country are different from each other. Some developing countries like Cambodia, what we need right now, and are very different from other, different from other Western countries. But we have to believe and we have to accept that it is the nature. And sometimes, for me, it is funny. It is funny that some countries criticize China while they make a lot of big business with China. And some Western countries and also some few countries in Asia, they may criticize everything about China. But if we look at the business or the trade exchange between their country and China, is too big. So it seems like they already understand that China is very important for the development of their country. And they also understand that China is the real partners for the social development and security partners in the region. But one more thing that I would like to say here is that I believe it is the nature that people or the country who used to be number one, I can say, who used to be at the top, they always do not want other people to be there or to go to the same place with them. Without the reasons, they may accuse or they may hate China in any reason. Or sometimes you do not talk anything, but they may start to dislike you because they don't want you to be in that place. So it is the nature. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of times it's competition or it's a race, but sometimes the human race development needs coordination and collaboration. So it's a joint future, right? It's a shared future. So thank you so much, gentlemen, and our beautiful lady, Branka. And we had a great, insightful talk today, conversation. Thank you so much. So before we go, I do have something more to share. The West spreads ideology in developing countries, while criticizing China for building roads and gigantic, large power stations for them. Yet, what the developing world really needs right now is the opportunity to grow and places for its people to live, construction and infrastructure. The Western ideology plants so much false hope, while they call China's overseas construction projects interference. Just think about it. So what I see is that there are always duties beyond construction to truly care for the people. This is MAGA reality, in which we share stories and insights on how construction and engineering help the world to grow. We'll be back.